Okay, guys, today we're starting on tables. So we did slope and y-intercept from graphs, and we went from a table to a graph, and now we're going to find slope in a table today. Okay? So the first thing we want to do is find the change in our y values. So we're going to pick two y values and do y minus y. So I always like to do the first two. 1, 2, 1, 2. Remember when we did that with rate of change, we just counted them? Okay, and then you find your change in x values. So then, sorry guys, whatever I subtract my y's will be on top, and whenever I subtract my x's will be on bottom. So what we do, like we did with rate of change, I always like start with the second one, 1 minus 0. But if you do it the other way, it's fine as well. So I'm going to do 1 minus 0, and I numbered them because when I do the x's, I need to do the same x first. So this x and y match each other, 1 and 1. And then this x and y match each other, 0 and 0. Okay, so if I did the 2 first, I want to do the 2 first on the x, so that would be 1. If I did the 1 first, I would have done the 1 first on the x, okay? So x is the 1, okay? 1 minus 0 is 1, 1 minus 0 is 1, and that is 1. And that's my slope. So in the equation, just like we did with the graphs, we're just going to put 1 for the m, and then just stick with the b, okay? Because I don't know how to find y-intercept on the table yet, okay? So just like on the graphs when we started with just the slope, we're just going to do this equation. And the only thing that's going to change is going to be this m value right here, which is the slope that we found right here. So this up here, when we do the change in y over the change in x, that is my m, that is my slope. Okay, let's do a couple examples, see if we understand. Okay. All right, guys. Okay, so I always like to start by numbering them so I know I can match them up correctly. First x, first y. Second x, second y. Okay, and I like doing 2 minus 1. So I'm going to start with 10 on top because y's are on top when we're finding slope. Okay, so I'm going to start with the 10 and then I'm going to subtract 7. So you're always subtracting, finding the difference or the change. Okay, and then because I did 10 first, I want to do 2 first over here. Okay, and then I'm going to subtract 0. Okay, so 10 minus 7 is 3, and 2 minus 0 is 2. And I can't reduce that because 3 divided by 2 isn't a whole number. So unless it divides to be a whole number, or you can simplify it to, if it was like 3 over 6, then I could simplify that to 1/2. But if you can't simplify it any further, then just keep it like that. So like I said, y equals, and then whatever the m is, x plus b. Okay, so we just want to change this number right here, and the number I got right here is going to be what it is, 3 over 2. And that's all it is. Okay, let's do one more example. For this next example, when it flips over, I want you to take a minute, try to figure it out on your own. Pause it, take a minute, try to figure out on your own, and then when you know, when you've got an answer, you can move on and see how I've done it. Okay, and then we can see if you understand it still or not, if you understand it. Okay, so this next one, pause it, take a moment to do it on your own, and then when you're done, unpause it, and I will go over it. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to number them again. 1, 2, 1, 2. You can number any ones you want. You can go all the way down to 3 and 4, and you can use 3 and 4 if you want to. Okay, it's going to give you the same slope as long as you stay 4 with 4, 3 with 3, 2 with 2, and 1 with 1. Okay, as long as you keep the numbers together, it's going to give you the same slope no matter what you do. Okay, so I'm going to do negative 3 minus 0, 2 minus 1. Okay, and then I'm going to do 2 minus 1, negative 1 minus, and whenever I do minus a negative, I always put this in parentheses so I know that it's a minus a negative. Okay, So I know negative 3 minus 0 is going to be negative 3. Okay, and then whenever I subtract a negative, two negatives become a positive. So these are going to be positive. So I end up with negative 1 plus 4. Negative 1 plus 4. Okay, and because I have a negative and a positive, I need to subtract those two numbers. 4 minus 1. Okay, and because 4 is bigger, that gets the sign. So it's going to stay positive. So 4 minus 1 is 3. Okay, and I know 3 divided by 3 is 1, right? But because it's a negative divided by a positive, it's going to end up being a negative 1. Okay, so when I put it in, y equals whatever my m is, x plus b. So my m right here is negative 1. So I'm going to put negative 1. Okay, and that's all there is to slope. Okay, I'm going to continue on and do the y-intercept. If you want to watch the rest of it today and work on all of that today, then that's fine. But you can always pause the video right here and then watch the y-intercept part tomorrow when we do the assignment. Okay, so let's keep going. So y-intercepts in tables is really actually pretty simple. You know, on a graph, it was where it crossed the y-axis. Okay, so because it's where it crosses the y-axis, that means x is always going to be 0 where the y-intercept is. Okay, so we want to find where x is 0. So I'm looking right here. That's where x is 0. Okay, and the y value is the y-intercept. So if this is 0, then that means 0 is going to be my y-intercept. So if I write it in an equation, I'm going to have y equals whatever m is, x plus, and because the y is 0 with where x is 0, I'm going to put 0. Okay, and then we can find the slope. The slope on this one ends up being 1. Okay, so find the slope just like we did. But that's all you got to do. Find where x is 0, and the y value is going to be your y-intercept. Oops. Okay. Okay, so let's look at this one. If I look at this one, I need to find where x is 0. X is 0. It's not always going to be at the top, okay? So you got to make sure. So that's where x is 0. So that means this right here is my y-intercept. So I have y equals whatever m is, my slope, x plus 7. And it's positive 7, so it's plus. If it was negative 7, it would be a minus 7. Okay, so now I'm going to find the slope. So I'm going to do what I did before. 1, 2, 1, 2. Okay, so I'm going to do 10 minus 7, because I did 2 minus 1. So I'm going to do 2 minus 1. So I'm going to do 2 minus 0. So 10 minus 7 is 3, and 2 minus 0 is 2. So it's 3 over 2. So 3 over 2x plus 7, and that's your answer. Y equals 3 over 2, 3/2 x plus 7. And that's the equation that you get for that one. Okay, so erase and do one more. Now on this next one, just like we did with the slope, I want you to pause and try to find the y-intercept on your own, do the slope, and then write the equation. So I want you to see if you can write the equation that's on your own. And then if you think you can, and you think you're right, when you get an equation, I want you to flip it back on and see if you got it right with me. Okay, so take a minute, pause, write the equation on your own, and then come back. Okay, so first of all, y equals whatever my slope is, x plus b. Oops. That's going to be whatever we get. Okay, so we're going to find our y-intercept here. Okay, so our y-intercept is going to go right there. Oops. Right there. Okay, so let's look. I need to find 0 on the x. So that's negative 4. That's negative 1. Oh, there's 0. Okay, that's what I want. So if I go across to the y, this is my y-intercept. okay? So my y-intercept right there is -4. And because it's a negative, that means it's going to be -4 here, okay? And then I want to find my slope. So like always, 1, 2, oops, 1, 2. So I'm going to start with 2, -3 minus 0, and then -1 minus a -4. Okay, that's -3. Remember, a negative and a negative make a positive, so that's -1 plus 4. And it's a negative and a positive, so we're going to do 4 minus 1. 4 minus 1. 4 minus 1 is 3. Okay? And -3 divided by 3 is -1. Okay, so we're going to put -1 there. So my answer is y equals, and whenever there's a 1 here, I'm going to tell you this right now. Whenever there's a 1 here, you don't really have to do it. So if it was 1x, you can just write an x. So if it was a positive 1, I could just write an x. That's how you're going to see it on the thing, on the test. But it's a -1, so I need to put a negative in front of this x. Because if an x is all by itself, that means there's a 1 there. Okay? -4. So y equals -x minus 4. And that's how you do it. That's all there is to y-intercept and slope. Thank you guys. I hope you have a great day, and we'll talk tomorrow.